In this video, we're going to be looking at Unit 3 and more on conditionals. In the previous videos, we looked at an if conditional in the NetRow program. There is another conditional. It's called an if-else conditional, and this is called two-way branching. We're going to create the island that you see here. It's looks like a little jagged staircase. It's not a perfect staircase, okay? So our Bob is going to be starting in cell 23-1. He is going to move up along the water edge. We did something like this with our step up method that we created in another lab, but this is a bit trickier because the number of vertical steps and the number of horizontal steps changes constantly. We have 3 vertical, then 2 horizontal, 2 vertical, 3 horizontal, 1 vertical, and then 3 horizontal. This code will get you started, and you're going to save it as a water bob. Note, there is a main method and a Drew method. To speed things up, I created the method already. You're going to run the program one step at a time to figure out what is happening. And in this video, we're going to work through this together. So we have our step moves, and then we have our main method, and we have our Drew method. So we're going to, you're going to copy that and paste it in. And so then we're going to look at it. So here's our main method with our step moves in it. And then we have our Drew method, and we have comment lines to help us. So what we need to do first is in our if statement, it says, if is water right? What is our Bob going to do? So if we look at it, we know that our Bob is going to be starting right here at 23-1, and we want him to hop up and turn and hop up and turn and hop up and turn, but he needs to check some things first. So we said if is water right? So the water's on the right side of him, so what do we need him to do? So right here, if the water's on the right side of him, he needs to hop until he gets right here. So we're going to place a hop here. That's what we want him to do. And remember, in the last video, we talked about some steps to figure out how to solve our programs. So I'm going to just come back here, and I am going to go back a page. We're going to look at page 5. And we're going to come down to the bottom, and we're going to look at the 4 steps to solving a problem. First, we need to figure out how to do one small part of the program and then test it. Then we're going to create a method if we are going to do that task many times. Then we're going to test the method a couple of times. And then if you need to use the method many times, we're going to figure out a while loop. Okay? So now we're back over here. And so we said that the one small part, we're going to do this one small part first, where, water is on our right side. What do we do? Well, if the water is on our right side, we're going to hop. So let's step through this. I'm going to click back on main method, and we're going to step through, and we're going to make sure that that works. So step move, we say, is the water on the right? Hop. So if we do that, and he keeps going, and he hops, well, now we need to figure out what happens. Let's go ahead and put in another step move. We're going to rewind this, come back over here, let's paste this in a couple more times, and we are going to run this continuously and see. And then what happens is he gets right here and it says, oh, there's no more water on the right of him. What do we do? So we're going to come back over here to our Drew method, and so now we need to say, okay, the water's no longer on the right side of us. What does that mean? Well, if the water's not on the right side of us anymore, we need to turn. Okay, so what must we do? This is where we turn the corner, so we need to turn the corner, and we're going to say turn, and inside our parentheses, we're going to say right. He needs to turn right. And let's run this and see. So he comes through, he runs, he turns right. All right. But see, he went down here and he turned back down. So, okay, so we know, yes, he turns right, but what else does he need to do? He turns right, and then he's going to need to hop because we want to get him back where the water is on the right side of him. All right, so let's run this again. And he turns, he runs, and now he hops. Okay, so everything looks good. Let's go ahead and put in another couple of step moves. And let's run it again and see what happens. He goes, he turns, he step moves, but now he's jumped into the water. And that's bad because that gives us a logic error and it says Bob's hopped into the water. So we need to do something else. So let's go back over to our Giroux method. Okay, so we're back in our Giroux method, and we know that as long as the water is on the right of us, he's going to be hopping. And then when it's not on the right, we want him to, when he gets up to the top, we want him to turn right. But when he got right here, he jumped in the water, which gave us a logic error because our Giroux cannot jump in the water. So what we have to do is the water is still on the right of us right here, and then he's hopping into the water. So we need to check something else. I mean, when you look at this, remember we have to think about what is happening. The water's on the right of us, but there is something in front of us. There's danger in front of us. So we need to check and make sure that it's okay for him to hop. So let's go up here to our is the water on the right of us, and let's put in an if is clear ahead. Remember to do 2 parentheses. So if it is clear ahead, we're going to put in our open bracket, we want him to hop. Okay, so we don't want him to hop if it's not clear ahead of him. So then, so if it is clear ahead, we're going to indent this a little bit. Come down and indent this. And so if it is clear ahead of him, we want him to hop. So let's run this now and see what happens. So it comes through the step move, and it's checking, and he's still hopping, and then here is clear ahead of us, he's hopping, and then it comes down and it says, is the water to the right of us? No, he's going to turn right, he's going to hop. Alright, so then we check it again, and now we're to the point where it's looking and it's saying, is the water ahead of us? Well, or is it clear ahead of us? Well, nope, it's not clear ahead of us, so then it's going to come down back over here, and now nothing's going to happen because we need to finish that out. We need to figure out something else for him to do. So let's go back, let's stop the program. We're going to rewind it, and then, so if we're at this edge and the water is ahead of us, and it's not clear ahead of us, because if we use nuts, it would be, nuts ahead of us. So what does he need to do? So what we have to do is say else. Okay. Now we put in our, oops, wrong things. We need brackets. So else, what does he need to do? Well, we want him to turn left. We want him to turn to where there's not going to be water there. So we're going to say turn left. And then what does he need to do? He's going to need, is it just turn left? Well, let's check that. So let's go ahead and rewind it and run the program continuously. And let's see what happens. So he goes up, look, it works. It works great. So now, remember one of the other rules that we had was if you need to use the method many times, figure out a boolean to use in a while loop. Okay, so it looks like we would be using step move over and over and over again, and we would just be continuously having to stick in more step moves, and so we would need a while loop. And we will come back to that in another video, and we will look at the while loop that we're going to put in here to make this work. So remember, save this as WaterBob, both the island and the code.